Aloys Jr., I thought, performed well against David Jamieson. Now, Jamieson is no great shakes, but I saw improvements in Aloys Jr.'s fluidity, in his punch selection, and in his calmness in the ring. Because in some previous fights, he appeared to be a bit uptight, and that resulted in him being a little stiff, not getting his shots off as fast, etc., etc. At the end of the day, he's a very young man. I think he's only 22. He actually lost his pro debut, which was a bit of a shocker in the industry at the time. And I think that speaks to the mental immaturity that Aloys had as a young man. You know, many fighters, when they are his age, they have the same type of mental immaturity. I don't mean necessarily in life, but as boxers. They haven't really come into their own mentally and emotionally yet by that age, most of them. But what I saw in that Jamieson fight was a young man in Aloys Jr. who's starting to come into his own. I'm not saying he's starting to peak, but he's starting to, as I say, become more relaxed in the ring, get his shots off more quickly, be more fluid. And because of the comfort levels he feels, he's opening up with different shots. We're seeing more punch variety and so on. With that being said, I think Viddal Riley, and I've said this before Riley beat Chev Clark, I picked him to beat Clark, but I said that I think Viddal Riley is actually one of the more underrated British fighters right now, in my opinion. I'm not saying that he is, you know, the next coming of whoever, Alexander Usyk even. What I am saying is, to me, Riley looks destined to become a world champion. He might even pick up a couple of belts once Jai Opetaia moves up. I'm not really so confident in him at the moment while Jai Opetaia's up there, but when Jai Opetaia moves up, I would be very surprised if Viddal Riley didn't win at least one belt, maybe a couple, maybe even more than that. I think that Riley, while he hasn't excited fans in some of his fights, to me he's shown great athleticism, hand speed, footwork, fluidity, punch variety, ring IQ, so on and so forth. In fact, I said during the live stream of his fight with Chev Clark that his rhythm was somewhat reminiscent of Evander Holyfield. Again, don't misconstrue what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that he's as good as Evander Holyfield. I'm just saying that his rhythm was reminiscent of Holyfield. I said that during the live stream commentary on the fight. And I was impressed by the way he dealt with Chev Clark. And he was having to deal, well, both fighters were having to deal with a slippy canvas, and he made the most of it and did his thing, totally outboxed Clark. I thought the scorecards were way too close. I think I only gave Clark 2 or 3 rounds in the fight, everything else to Viddal Riley. So I think he's a bit of a sleeper in British boxing, and fans are underestimating him for whatever reason. He's flying under the radar. And it's interesting because Viddal Riley's got a very big social media following owing to the fact that he was training YouTubers. And so a lot of the British public might be more familiar with him as a trainer of YouTube boxers rather than a legitimate boxer in his own right. So perhaps that contributes to why some people don't really look at him as a serious talent. But what my eyes see is a serious talent. The way I see it right now, even though I think Aloys Jr. is showing signs of improvement, I would still pick Viddal Riley to beat him at this juncture if they fight next. I would expect Viddal Riley to outbox Aloys Jr. over the 12-round distance and get a decision. But what say you?